Today's video is all about Mario Kart, specifically Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and all of the available Booster Course Pass courses. Now, there's no official story mode for Mario Kart, and after a while playing, it can get boring and repetitive. I can't think of a better way to spice things up than adding a bit of a challenge into the mix. Today we will learn two things. One, can I consider myself a good Mario Kart player? And two, how many cups can I win? Obviously, I could sit and play Mario Kart all day long and eventually get 3 stars in every cup, but that's too easy. Today is a test, and with every test, there's always rules. The rules are pretty simple. All races must be raced at 200cc. The build must stay the same throughout all cups. The cup only counts if I place first in every race of the cup. I can only play each cup once, so no replaying any cups that I've lost. Now that I've set some ground rules, I'm betting that I can win at least 6 cups out of the 22. Also, I did the intro before I actually played the game, and I feel like 6 cups is a pretty decent amount for an average Mario Kart player. If I get 6 cups, I swear it's a coincidence and not the power of editing. Anyway, let's just hop in and see how well I do. Starting with the Mushroom Cup. The Mushroom Cup has Mario Kart Stadium, Water Park, Sweet Sweet Canyon, and Thomp Ruins. Mario Kart Stadium is a pretty easy course. I took first place in the first lap and held on to it without getting hit once. Besides a blue shell after I finished the last lap, but I still won. Now next up was the Water Park course. This map felt really short if I'm being honest. However, the map being short helped me gain a strong lead in the beginning and take first place. Also, for some reason, I kept on getting coins every time I tried to get a different item after already having 10 coins. It was honestly very annoying. However, I was still able to hold first, moving me to the next course. Now the third course, Sweet Sweet Canyon, is pretty basic like the first 2 courses, but not very challenging. Now during my second lap though, I did get hit by a blue shell, but I took first place back and then won the course. And then finally we have Thomp Ruins. This one is definitely one of my favorite maps to play because of the aesthetics and the layout of the map. Not to mention the little shortcut at the very end that allows you to get at least 2 jump boosts in a row. Now Thomp Ruins in itself is definitely not a hard course. I was able to hold first for the majority of the map and take advantage of all the speed boosts, which led me to winning the 4th course in my first cup win. Now onto the Flower Cup. The Flower Cup has Mario Circuit, Toad Harbor, Twisted Mansion, and Shy Guy Falls. Mario Circuit is probably one of the easiest maps in Mario Kart. It's just the infinity sign twice. You can basically drift the whole time and boost on the straights. I easily took first place and enjoyed my favorite part of the map when you can drift onto the ramp, get a jump boost, and fly through the finish line. Next up is Toad Harbor. Toad Harbor is definitely not my favorite map. Right after you start, you can choose to go on a ramp or go straight over the bridge. Sometimes it will force you to go over the ramp, even when you don't want to. Overall, this map was a little harder. I did get hit by 2 different blue shells. The first blue shell was on my second lap, which wasn't the end of the world, but the last one was right before the finish line. However, in the end, I still finished first. Next up was Twisted Mansion. This map is an okay map, not in my top 10 at all. Maybe top 20, but it's still a reach. It's kind of disorienting when the game decides to rotate your screen. The race started slow for me, but on my second lap, the player that was in first place was blue shelled, giving me enough time to retake first place. In the last lap of Twisted Mansion, I was being targeted by a red shell, but I wasn't worried because I had a super horn. However, I missed because I used it too soon. Fortunately enough though, I had a decent lead and I was still able to remain in first place. The last course was Shy Guy Falls. I felt confident going into this race, but it was quickly diminished in the second lap after being hit back to back by a banana, a red shell, and a green shell. Then after gaining first place back in my last lap, I got hit with a red shell. I did have a super horn and I used it as soon as I could after wailing my arms, but it was way too late. Unfortunately, I lost the last course of the Flower Cup and had to move to the Star Cup. The Star Cup has Sunshine Airport, Dolphin Shoals, Electrodome, and Mount Wario. Sunshine Airport did not start out the best. I already have mixed feelings about the map and the bad start didn't help. I missed the rocket start and stalled out. It wasn't until about the second lap that I was able to get into first place with the help of a piranha plant. I stayed in first place for the rest of the race, moving me to the next course. Now Dolphin Shoals, in my opinion, is one of the worst maps. There's a side tunnel you can take that I think is faster than taking the main way, but at the end of the tunnel when you land, I always end up slowing down dramatically. One highlight of the race though was I was able to use the super horn to get rid of a blue shell mid-race, but that is where the highlights end. The race ended with Yoshi beating me barely after I held first place for most of the race. To be honest, I had no idea where he got a speed boost, as well as having a shell to block the red shell. So this ended the Star Cup and caused a 2-cup losing streak. Wasn't happy about that, so we have to move on to the Special Cup. The Special Cup consists of Cloud Top Cruise, Bone Dry Dunes, Bowser's Castle, and Rainbow Road. Cloud Top Cruise can be fun sometimes, but it's a pretty short map. So if you get hit or fall more than a few times, then you're more than likely not winning. I can say it is pretty satisfying being able to hit all the boosts near the end of the race until you get hit by lightning. The race was pretty easy and not too hard for me. However, I did get hit by a red shell on my second lap, but I was still able to hit it with a green shell, so I was protected. Right after the third lap started though, I was still waiting on an item and I was hit with a red shell again, and lost first place because of it. The Mario Kart gods are looking out for me though, because first place immediately got hit with a blue shell, and I took first place, which ultimately led me to winning the Cloud Top Cruise. Bone Dry Dunes is definitely one of my favorite courses. This course is pretty simple and has a couple of places you can drift back to back that allows you to get a huge boost. If you're able to get the same boost each lap, it's basically a guaranteed win. It also feels good to be able to drift back to back, which helps put a huge lead between the other racers. This course is super easy and I held first in the beginning and won. The next course is Bowser's Castle. If I never had to play this course again, I would be happy. The race started off fine. I stayed in second place until the start of the second lap, where I was able to claim first place. I held first place until Yoshi was able to pass me because I hit a banana, and then he threw a green shell at me. I was able to again reclaim first place in the beginning of the third lap until I hit those damn lasers. I took first place back again, and at the very end of the race, I got hit back to back with a blue shell, a red shell, and another red shell. A miracle happened because I was still able to finish the race in first place. The last course of the cup is Rainbow Road. This Rainbow Road course is pretty easy and a nice wrap for the special cup. I stayed in first for all of the laps and maintained a huge lead. I did get struck by lightning at the end of the race on the last lap, but it didn't matter. I still placed first and won my second cup of the challenge. The next cup up was the Egg Cup. The Egg Cup has Yoshi Circuit, Excite Bike Arena, Dragon Driftway, and Mute City. Yoshi Circuit is another map that I just don't care for. It's just the outline of Yoshi. Drifting can be fun in some spots, but in other spots it's just useless and you'll end up slowing down in the end. The race went well, and I was only hit twice, once by lightning and the other by a red shell. Fortunately though, I did have a super horn to protect me from a blue shell. Ultimately, I held first and won. Excite Bike is as simple as the course can be. It's an oval with ramps. You would think it would be easier, but I assure you it's not. Getting hit once on this course can easily lead to a loss. This race was definitely a change of pace because for the whole race I was neck and neck with Waluigi. It doesn't help that any NPC instantly gets their items while I have to wait 5 seconds. I claimed first on the second lap but instantly regretted it because I got blue shelled. However, Waluigi also got hit from the blast, so I guess it was a fair trade. Near the end of the finish line on the second lap, Waluigi ricocheted a green shell off the wall and it hit me. And then he decided to throw Fire Flower Fire at me and that hit me as well. However, I was still able to reclaim first place and win the course. Dragon Driftway is another course that I don't care for. There's too many turns, and going at full speed it can get disorienting. The start of the race was great. I had a rocket start that led to a jump boost and led me to claiming first place. I held first place for the first lap and the second lap and had a pretty good lead. However, on the third lap I was hit with a banana and then a blue shell hit me shortly after. This led to Waluigi passing me and placing me in second. The game wasn't finished with me though, because I got hit by 2 green shells right before the finish line and placed me in 7th place. This makes me hate this game even more. Since I lost, I have to move on to the next cup. The next cup up is the Crossing Cup. The Crossing Cup has Baby Park, Cheeseland, Wildwoods, and Animal Crossing. Baby Park is the simplest map in Mario Kart because it's just an oval, no ramps, nothing. Baby Park consists of 7 laps instead of the typical 3 laps. To be honest, this map is kind of boring. As long as you don't get hit in the last lap and drift every corner, you'll place first with ease. I did get hit by someone who had a superstar on the 4th lap going into the 5th lap, but I easily took first place and won the course. One course we all can agree to go is Cheeseland. No matter the build, I will always hate this map. It feels so slow and I feel like everyone is always near each other with no room to breathe. I basically held second all laps, however in the 3rd lap I got hit with 1 red shell which placed me in 7th. I was able to get back into 2nd place, but unfortunately I lost the course and had to move to the next cup. Moving on to the Shell Cup. The Shell Cup has Moo Moo Meadows, Mario Circuit, Cheep Cheep Beach, and Toad's Turnpike. We started at Moo Moo Meadows. Moo Moo Meadows is a fun short course to play. It's very simple and easy to navigate. The only problem that you can run into are the cows. If you dodge the cows and drift whenever there's a turn, you have no problem creating a lead and placing first. I was able to easily maintain in first place throughout the whole course and win. Next was Mario Circuit. Mario Circuit is also a pretty short course that isn't very difficult. Even though it's not a hard course, I had a skill issue causing me to start the race by stalling and missing the rocket start. I fought for first for the entire first lap and had it near the end, but for some reason an invisible wall made me take the side path, slowing me down. It was no issue because I was able to take first place in the 2nd lap and create a lead between me and the other racers. I wrapped the race up by finishing in first place. Next up is Cheep Cheep Beach. Cheap Cheap Beach is only okay. I think the theme of the course is cool, but I don't like the layout. Half the time I overshoot on the ramps and head straight into the water. On my second lap of the course, I was hit by a blue shell. Thankfully, I had a pretty good lead and the only character that passed me was Wendy. Also, as a side note, I had no idea who this character was. I had to look her up for this video. After Wendy passed me, she decided to throw a green shell back at me, but she missed. I retaliated and threw a red shell that allowed me to take first place back. I remained in first place the remainder of the race and won. The final course of the cup was Toad's Turnpike. This course is in my top 10. Toad's Turnpike is just an infinity sign, which means all you need to do is drift the curves and boost on the straights. This course also has boosts on the side of the walls, which I took advantage of. I had no problem keeping first place, and strangely enough, I didn't get hit once. I was able to win the course, which led me to my third cup win. The next cup up is the Banana Cup. The Banana Cup has Dry Desert, Donut Plains, Royal Raceway, and DK Jungle. We started with Dry Desert. Now, any course that has sand I automatically dislike. Dry Desert is all sand besides the small oasis area, so my hopes weren't very high, although I did give it some brownie points because the map does contain a smiley face. The race began with me fighting for first and actually benefiting from being hit that allowed me to dodge a cactus and even collect a coin. After taking first, I held it for the remainder of the race, even after hitting a banana on my second lap. I can say that Dry Desert isn't such a bad sand map. I'm not just saying that because I won either. You know, it was short, fun, and not very slow. The next course was Donut Plains. It's a pretty simple and straightforward course. I started strong with a rocket start that helped me get into the lead. One thing that was apparent was how fast the NPCs got their items compared to me. After complaining, the game must have heard me because I was hit with a red shell and then shortly after a green shell, which left me in fourth place. In the second lap, I was making pretty good timing, but it was cut back after hitting a banana thrown by Princess Peach. Luck was not on my side at all. During the last lap of the race, I thought I won it already, only to get hit by lightning and lose my boost, thus giving Princess Peach first place and me second place. I cut my losses and moved on to the next cup. The next cup was the Leaf Cup. The Leaf Cup has Wario Stadium, Sherbet Land, Music Park, and Yoshi Valley. I'll be honest, I don't remember the last time I played the Wario Stadium course. Fortunately, it's a pretty easy one after relearning the course in the first lap. It's nice that it has a ton of places to get a boost, which greatly helped getting a generous lead in front of the other racers. I held first like I always do and continued to get a bigger lead. I finished the race in first place and was hit with a blue shell shortly after, but it doesn't matter, still won. The next course is Sherbet Land. Sherbet Land was certainly a change of pace. I had to adopt right from the start. I was able to claim first at the end of the first lap. On the second lap, somehow Baby Peach passed me, but I wasn't upset because right after she did, she was hit with a blue shell. On the last lap, I tried my hardest on getting every boost as I could to create a lead. Right by the finish line, somehow Ludwig got right beside me and then passed me. Then lightning struck, shrinking us both down. I was still coming out of the water and was able to get a jump boost and beat him to the finish line. I placed first and was happy that this course was done. Music Park is another course that I did not play very much. I kinda struggled in the beginning, but I was able to claim first place only to get hit by a green shell sending me into third place. The middle of the course before the finish line has a weird part where music notes bounce on the course which cause you to bounce, but I didn't know that you could get a jump boost off of it until watching Ludwig do it. I was able to reclaim first place in the second lap near the dancing notes, but hit an invisible wall and Ludwig took back first place. However, after crossing the finish line in the third lap, he was hit with a blue shell, but I also hit a banana, so it didn't really matter. At the end of the third lap, I was able to catch back up and pass him thanks to the magical dancing notes. I secured first place and moved to the last course of the Leaf Cup. Yoshi Valley was the last course and I was a little nervous because the map looked confusing. I started strong, taking first place, and I was able to create a decent lead. I was able to hit Ludwig with one of my bananas, which he deserved because honestly he stresses me out. Also, I don't know why the developers thought putting a giant spinning Yoshi egg in the map was a good idea, nor why they agreed to do so. Anyway, Yoshi Valley was pretty easy after creating a lead between me and the other racers. I was surprised that it was the last lap because it was a pretty short race. But nonetheless, I won first place in Yoshi Valley, leading me to add another cup to my score. On to the next cup. The Lightning Cup has Tick Tock Clock, Piranha Plant Slide, Grumble Volcano, and another Rainbow Road. Tick Tock Clock is just a weird course, I'll give it to them, it does look like a clock. I had to get used to this course because it's been a while since I played it. So far I was doing well relearning the course and dodged the first pendulum. However, I hit the second pendulum like an idiot. I was able to reclaim first place after the first lap because Peach hit the pendulum this time. However, she hit me with a red shell sending me to second place, but I was able to get back in first place basically right after. I held first all the way until the end and almost hit my own banana that I threw. I missed it though and still placed in first. Piranha Plant Slide was the next course. I really didn't have any feelings toward this course at first. I started off well and stayed behind Waluigi for the majority of the first lap. The second lap consisted of everyone being right next to each other. I still wasn't in first and I was honestly getting nervous. The third lap was very hectic. I took first place from Peach but instantly got red shelled. I was fortunate enough to get a boost from the Wizard Koopa straight into another boost placing me in first. I flew off and drifted around the last corner only to bump right into Peach. I barely made it, but I placed first, sending me to the next course. Grumble Volcano reminds me a lot of Bowser's Castle. I started off with a rocket start and stayed right behind the people who were in first and second all the way through the first lap. In the second lap, Waluigi was able to hit Peach with a red shell, allowing me to take first place for myself. However, she was able to catch right back up to me, toss a banana perfectly back, and hit me, sending me back to second place. In the last stretch of the race, I was able to get 3 bananas. I got my revenge and took first place back from Peach. From there, it was smooth sailing until I got hit by a blue shell right before the finish line. They waited until the very end to give someone a blue shell, and of course I had to be in first place. No worries though, I was still able to get back up and place first, allowing me to move on to the last course of the Lightning Cup. The last course was Rainbow Road. This is probably one of my favorite Rainbow Roads just because of the layout and the feel of the course. I took the lead after being in second place right behind the Wizard Koopa, and from there, well, it was basically over. I think this course is one of my favorites because of how easy it is to navigate. This course felt super short because it doesn't lap and has 3 different finish lines, which I love. I stayed in first place for the rest of the course, which led to adding another cup to my score, which totals up to 5 cups won. Another cup down, let's move on to the next one. The next cup is the Triforce Cup. The Triforce Cup has Wario's Gold Mine, Rainbow Road, Ice Outpost, and Hyrule Circuit. Wario's Gold Mine is a lot of fun to play. I love this course. The drop right after you start gives you a nice little boost that allows you to get a drift boost back to back. I used this drift boost to beat Waluigi on the curve and to claim first place. I kept first place going into the second lap and kept it even after hitting a banana after falling off the curve. I still hit the remaining boost, catching speed and air time, and was able to go even faster after making it into the side tunnel. This is definitely a fast-paced map, but it was still a lot of fun. I maintained first place and placed first, allowing me to move to the next course. The next course up was Rainbow Road. Now, Rainbow Road in the Triforce Cup is not very fun to play. Its layout is pretty simple, but I just don't like playing on the course. It's pretty boring, and I can never get a jump boost right. I held first for the first 2 laps even though I was not having a good time. The third lap did not go well whatsoever. Baby Mario somehow had super speed and proceeded to take first place, leaving me in second near the end of the map. Unfortunately, I slowed my pace down even further after hitting one of the walls, causing me to lose all momentum, which gave Baby Mario a lead and placing me in second. Now, since I placed in second, I had to forfeit the Triforce Cup and move to the next one, which is really disappointing because at the end of the Triforce Cup is the Hyrule Circuit, which is one of my favorite courses. The next cup up is the Bell Cup. The Bell Cup has Neo Bowser City, Ribbon Road, Super Bell Subway, and Big Blue. Now, Bowser City is actually a fun course to play. I started with a rocket start that shot me into second place right behind Peach. I was able to claim first place from Peach shortly after. I was right behind Peach when I threw a red shell, but rather than hit her, it decided to go past her instead. I don't know why this game does this to me. I hate this. I stayed in first place until the second lap where Peach threw a red shell at me and hit my bomb that I was using to protect myself. Usually it would hit the bomb and then blow up behind me, but I wasn't fast enough. I fought Peach for first for the rest of the second and third lap. On the third lap, Peach got blue shelled and then I got hit with the fallout for that one. This game just hates me, I swear. I don't know how this happens all the time. I took first place back again and headed toward the finish line. I was getting a nice drift boost going so I can turn it into a jump boost at the end to secure the win. However, this game decided to absolutely demoralize me by having Peach hit me with a banana, causing me to go into second place. Even though that I lost, I'm just happy it wasn't the last course of the cup. So that being said, let's move on to the next one. So the next cup is the Golden Dash Cup. The Golden Dash Cup has Paris Promenade, Toad Circuit, Choco Mountain, and Coconut Mall. I started off in Paris with the Paris Promenade course. I got a rocket start right off the bat. Now, I don't have any opinions about this course because I rarely ever play this cup. However, it did start out strong, so that was a good start. I was able to stay in second place right behind Peach. We were both heading toward the Eiffel Tower where I almost hit a poorly placed banana. I passed Peach on the turns to claim first place where I held until she threw a red shell at me during the start of the second lap. I got my revenge on Peach before the ramp that leads to the Eiffel Tower by hitting her with a banana, placing her in second while I stole the lead. So far, this has been a race between me and Peach. I knew if I took the lead, I could win. I held first until the end of the second lap where I get hit by a red shell. However, I had a lead so it didn't really matter. But just a little down the road, I got hit by a green shell placing me in third. After passing under the Eiffel Tower, Waluigi was still barely ahead of me. Not to worry though, he got hit with a blue shell, sending me straight to first place. I Across the finish line, packed my bags, left Paris straight to the next course. After Paris Promenade, we arrived at Toad Circuit. Toad Circuit is a really basic course with nothing too challenging. I didn't have the best rocket start, but it didn't matter. I was still able to keep up with first and second place. Late in the first lap, right before the start of the second lap, I was able to claim first place. But shortly after holding first place, I got hit with a red shell, sending me back to second and fighting for first once again. I reclaimed first at the end of the second lap by lining up a banana to hit Peach perfectly. I was able to secure first place and win by drifting as much as possible to get as many boosts as I could. In the end, I placed first, sending me to the third course. The third course was Choco Mountain. I started off with a good rocket start that led to Peach hitting me. I was still able to bounce back and stay in first place. The cave was a nice touch, but would have been better without the bats. I exited the cave and flew toward the falling rock area. The first lap wasn't that exciting, but that is okay. All the excitement happened after the second lap just started. First, a red shell hit me, sending me to second place just behind Peach. However, Peach hit the wall when we entered the cave, allowing me to reclaim first place. From there, it was smooth sailing. Just kidding. A blue shell deemed me worthy of his presence, costing me first place. Oh wait, there's more. A rock decided to drop on me, moving me further down the placement list. Hold on, I'm still not finished. Wink had a superstar and I was in his way, so of course he hit me. This all happened within like 15 seconds, by the way. Using my gaming skill and mad coping abilities, I was able to reclaim first from Peach in the cave. Being honest, after I got hit back to back, I thought there was no way in hell that I was going to be able to place first. But somehow I prevailed, sending me to the final course of the Golden Dash Cup. The last course was Coconut Mall. Winning this course would tally my total cup wins to 6 cups. I started strong with a few jump boosts back to back, giving me a lot of speed. I was still in second place until I was able to beat first place on a curve with the drift boost. I'm not going to lie, I was feeling pretty confident already and prepared myself to get a lead and set myself in cruise control. However, I hit a wall that really slowed things down and made me panic deep down because this map was not very big. I stayed in second, hoping to pass first like I did in the first lap in the mall. The game had other plans. Instead of drifting the curve like a normal human being, it decided that I needed to spin out instead. I thought I could get a lead on the escalator area, but third place hit me with the green shell, which really just ruined things. To make things worse, I got hit with a red shell after getting unstunned from the green shell that put me in 8th place. I thought I could steal first place after they were about to get hit with a blue shell, but that wasn't in the cards. However, getting hit by a green shell was. This set me all the way back to 7th place. I knew it was already over after flying to the end of the third lap. After winning 3 courses back to back just to be so unlucky was super defeating, and boy, I was pissed. At the end of the day, there's nothing I could do about it though, so the only thing I could do was move to the next cup. The next cup was the Lucky Cat Cup. The Lucky Cat Cup has Tokyo Blur, Shroom Ridge, Sky Garden, and Ninja Hideaway. I was hoping for some luck, especially after the last cup. The Tokyo Blur course was a change of pace and a pretty fast course overall. I started strong with a rocket start that led into a long drift into a boost that put me in second. The first item I received was a red shell that I used to put myself into first place. I held it briefly before Peach passed me and attempted to end my life with a banana. I took that personally and threw a red shell, ending her career and sending her back to at least second place. On the second lap, I realized that you needed a mushroom to do a shortcut and was hit with the green shell. As soon as I decided it was okay to drive again, I got hit with a red shell. The NPCs were alpha blood and continued to harass me by hitting me with fire, flower, fire. At this point, I was getting really annoyed, so I had to get serious. I dodged bananas and boomerangs to get into second place. Somehow, Ludwig had a mushroom and I was scrambling to get every boost I could. But that didn't matter. By some miracle, I was able to pass him on the first curve thanks to a boost, which led to me passing him on the second curve with a boost that secured me in first place, allowing me to move to Shroom Ridge. Shroom Ridge reminded me a lot of Toad Harbor, but slightly longer. I took first place right from the start and started to gain a pretty good lead. By the second lap, I was already so far in front of everyone, and the distance just kept on growing. I was abusing every curve just to get a boost to further my lead. Right after the third lap, a blue shell found its way toward me. I had no items to protect myself from the impact. After I got back up from being hit with a blue shell, I was hit with a red shell and then I was shrunk by the lightning. Ludwig finally caught up along with Mario, and the last stretch of the third lap was very stressful. Ludwig hit me and Mario with a banana and then he proceeded to hit a car right after. We both got back up and headed straight to the finish line. He then hit me again with a banana, but he also hit a car again. Peach took one for the team and hit Ludwig into a car, sending me into the next course. The next course was Sky Garden. Sky Garden felt a lot like Mario Circuit, but aesthetically it was much nicer. I took first place after the third turn on the course. So far, the navigation was pretty easy and there weren't any obstacles. I held first on the second and third lap. By the third lap, I had a pretty good lead in front of the others. This lead helped a bunch because near the end of the third lap, I was able to get back up after being hit by a blue shell. I easily took first place and moved to the final course of the Lucky Cat Cup. The last course was Ninja Hideaway. I played this course before and I didn't care for it because of the bumpy terrain and the tight turns. Even though I didn't care for this map, I started off well with a rocket start into a boost jump which helped me lead in first. While playing this course, it felt huge if I'm being honest, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I held first all through the second lap and was able to generate somewhat of a lead between me and the other racers. The third lap stressed me out because Ludwig was right behind me. And then I got hit by lightning, which was terrifying. The last stretch right before the finish line I was briefly in second place. However, I think someone hit a banana, putting them in second place and me in first, and I was able to reclaim first and win my 6th cup. The Turn-Up Cup has New York Minute, Mario Circuit 3, Calamari Desert, and Waluigi Pinball. I felt pretty good going into the New York Minute course from the Ninja Hideaway course. It started pretty bad though. I had no rocket start and I didn't have any idea how to navigate through the course. I was able to get into second place around the start of the second lap, and I tried hitting Waluigi with a red shell, but he was protected by bananas. Shortly after, there was a ramp that I saw that I could potentially use to boost me into first place. I was able to claim first for a couple seconds, but then I hit a green shell that was behind Isabella, sending me back to third place. The third lap was just as bad as the first two, if I'm being honest. I was only able to get into third place. At least it was the first course of the cup rather than the last course of the cup. Time to move on to the next cup. The next cup is the Propeller Cup. The Propeller Cup has Sydney Sprint, Snowland, Mushroom Gorge, and Sky High Sundae. The Sydney Sprint course was the next course up. The map for this course looked messy, so I was a little nervous. I started the race off better than the last one, this time getting a rocket start. I was able to take first pretty early and focused on gaining the lead. However, the second lap was a different route than the first lap, so that made me nervous. Late second lap, I was blessed by a red shell that put me in second place. Shortly after the red shell, I was struck by lightning that slowed me down even further. Right before the third lap, I was hit by a green shell sending me to third place. I was able to reclaim first place from Waluigi using the speed ramps. After taking the free mushroom and first place, I ran into Waluigi and hit him with a banana, securing my spot in first place. The next item I had was a mushroom, which I used right at the end of the third lap to boost my way into the finish line and into the next course. Snowland is a pretty basic course overall, and the hardest challenge of the course is getting adjusted to the ice. I had a good start, but I could only stay in second place. I slowly caught up to Waluigi and hit him with the red shell. I passed him and maintained first the rest of the second lap. This map was very popular in red shells. I was able to protect myself from the first two red shells. However, a little after the third lap started, I didn't have any items to protect me from the third red shell. Waluigi was then able to take first place from me. It was a blessing in disguise because right after he was hit with a blue shell. But he was no longer in first place and Peach was. I was then able to catch up to Peach, who was now in first place, and pass her on the curve. I took first place and held first place for the rest of the race, leading me to the next course. The third course was Mushroom Gorge. I played it a few times, and personally to me this is hit or miss. It can be a lot of fun and very satisfying being able to be consistent when you're jumping on the mushrooms. It was a pretty short map, so you do have to be careful. My first lap around was pretty smooth, but my second lap on the mushrooms did not go as planned. I somehow missed a boost and fell right into the abyss. I was still able to keep first place though, and I knew if I held it for the remaining laps I could claim first. On the third lap, the game really did not want me to win. After jumping on the first mushroom in the cave, it caused me to lose control and slow down my pace dramatically. Even with my slow momentum, I was still in first place though. All I had left was leaving the cave and drifting a curve. I had a red shell to protect me from another red shell, but unfortunately a blue shell headed straight for me and hit me just before the finish line. Waluigi passed me, leaving me in second place. Since I lost the Propeller Cup, I have to move to the next one. Now the next cup up is the Rock Cup. The Rock Cup consists of London Loop, Blue Lake, Rock Mountain, and Maple Treeway. The first course up was the London Loop. I've played the course a few times, but I don't remember much about it. Even though I started with the rocket start, I was not making any progress after making it into third place. I was able to get into second place during their first lap when a few people hit a chain chomp. Peach was the only person in front of me and I was able to knock her down to second place with a red shell. I held first for the second lap, creating some distance between me and the other racers. I was hit with a green shell right before a blue shell was about to hit me, which actually shortened the stun time I think. I was able to bounce right back up and cross into the third lap. The London Loop was another course that didn't have the same route and changed each time. It definitely did mess me up just a bit, but I still survived. Closing in on the end of the last lap, a blue shell was headed straight toward me. I was able to get a boost from a drift that allowed me to cross the finish line before getting hit. Blue Lake is a super easy course. I had no issue taking first and holding on to it. The only issue I did have was the fact that both the items that I got were coins each time. I got hit with the red shell on my first lap going into the second lap after receiving a coin. But I had such a huge lead that it didn't even matter. Let me just say, I am so sick of getting coins. The fact that they gave me coins instead of a banana or even a green shell further proves my point on how much this game actually hates me. Even though I got coins back to back, I maintained first in the third lap, and honestly, I could have passed a few players if there was another lap. After holding first place for all 3 laps, I took first place and moved on to the next cup. Rock Mountain was next. The course and layout was pretty simple. I just needed to get a refresher of the course to make sure I wasn't in for a surprise. I missed the power up before going into the cave and then bumped into Baby Luigi, sending me into second place. I remained in third place and was planning on taking a ramp to try and reclaim first place. However, Peach held onto a red shell and hit me, moving me to fourth place now. I used the ramp and took advantage of all the boosts on the hill, and I was able to get into second place. However, somewhere before entering the mountain, I noticed I was no longer in second place, but somehow in third. To my surprise, Waluigi dropped right down in front of me and stole second place, but just right after we all got hit with lightning. As soon as we landed, I threw a red shell hitting Baby Luigi. I was then able to claim first place. Skipping to the end of the third lap, Baby Luigi caught up to me somehow, and I was able to use my super horn, putting him back in second. All that was left of the course was the hill before the finish line. I used the ramp to get a boost so I could head straight toward the other boost, but instead a rock hit me. Even though it slowed me down, I was still able to hit the remaining speed boosts, placing me in first and sending me to the next course. The last course was Maple Tree Way. Right from the start, Baby Luigi took first place and started to have a huge lead in front of all of us. The first item I got was a red shell. I used it as soon as possible to cut down the lead in front of me and Baby Luigi. After I took first place, I was focused on 2 things: boosting to get a lead in front of the other racers, and how terrifying those caterpillar things would have been in real life. Those things were huge compared to us. Anyway, I was making good timing and getting a decent lead while holding on to first. I remained in first place for all of the first lap, going into the second lap. After passing the giant caterpillars on the second lap, I was hit by lightning, and then right after recovering, I was hit with a blue shell. Baby Luigi took full advantage of the situation and took first place for me. I hit the boost trying to catch back up, and as I climbed up the wall, I got ran over. I proceeded under the log and into the tree when Waluigi hit me with a banana, placing me in fifth. As the last lap was wrapping up, I managed to get into fourth place and then into third place after crossing under the tree by the caterpillars. I had every speed boost possible, which brought me back up to second place. I was creeping up on Baby Luigi and tried using my super horn, but missed. However, I had a red shell in my back pocket, which I used to hit him. The finish line was right there, and I was so close but also so nervous. I was fortunate enough to have another red shell to protect myself, securing first place in my 7th cup win. Next cup was the Moon Cup. The Moon Cup has Berlin Byways, Beach Gardens, Merry Mountain, and Rainbow Road. The first course up is Berlin Byways. I started the race off well with a nice rocket start. I don't really remember this course, and the map could only help me so much. You can definitely tell that I had no idea how to drive on this course. It wasn't until the second lap that I was able to get into first place after using my red shell to hit Peach, which instead protected me from the banana she threw. Right after the third lap started, Peach was able to swipe first for me temporarily, but I took it back on the next curve. We both were hit by lightning, where she took first place back. I was able to hit the next speed boost that launched me closer to Peach. A curve was coming up and I was able to get a boost that allowed me to reclaim first place. I held first for the rest of the third lap, sending me onto the next course. Peach Gardens was the second course of the cup. I don't like this course because of the last lap. This course does a 180 and basically goes backwards. Also, I feel like this course has pretty wide turns that go into a wall, but that could just be a skill issue. Now, speaking of skills, it took until the last stretch of the first lap for me to take first place, as well as almost hit a wall. I was still able to keep first place going into the third lap even after almost being hit by a red shell. I still wasn't ready to go the opposite way for the final lap. However, for the entirety of the third lap, I was able to keep a decent lead between me and the other racers and placed first, sending me to the third course. The next course is Merry Mountain. I could probably count on one hand how many times I played this course. Fortunately, it's a pretty short and fast course that is actually a lot of fun to play. I was unsure if I could take a side path onto the train tracks, but I took the risk anyway and found out that you could without needing a boost. I lost first place going up the snowy mountain and was fighting basically everyone for it. I was able to hit every boost coming down from the mountain, but that still wasn't enough to claim first place. I snuck up on first place and used a bomb to claim first place back. I knew that the lead that I had was not going to be enough to secure first place. I focused on hitting all of the boosts and prepared for any shells. Approaching the mountain, I was lucky that I had a green shell that allowed me to block the red shell. I then hit all the boosts once again, finally securing me in first place and sending me to the next and final course. The final course is Rainbow Road. I started good with a rocket start into a drift that kept me in second place. I do have mixed emotions about all Rainbow Roads, especially ones that I haven't played before. I've maybe played this one maybe once or twice max, but I don't remember anything about it. I did get hit by a red shell pretty early in the game, however, I was still able to take first place after the second jump. Maintaining first and second lap, I only had one goal, and that was to create a lead. The bigger lead that I have increases the odds of me winning first place. Also, having a lead means I can make a mistake that wouldn't cost me first place. This is the last course of the Moon Cup, and I've already made it this far, so I don't want a simple mistake cost me everything. Somehow, in the start of the third lap, Dry Bones passed me, leaving me in second. However, I looked on the map and I saw that a blue shell was headed right in his direction. I kept my distance to make sure I wouldn't get hit by any of the fallout and I could just swing right by him. But somehow he had a super horn and used it to get rid of the blue shell. I cannot make this up. He was able to take first place, leaving me second, making me lose the Moon Cup. The next cup up was the Fruit Cup. The Fruit Cup has Amsterdam Drift, Riverside Park, DK Summit, and Yoshi's Island. Amsterdam Drift was the first course. It felt a lot like Berlin Byways. I started off well with a rocket start and was fighting Waluigi for first place. He was able to take second for me, but I was able to get a red shell, sending him into third place. After the second lap, I was closing the lead between me and first place. I received a red shell and threw it at first place, but they dodged it, hitting an air vent. These NPCs are evolving. Since first place took an air vent, I was able to swipe first place from them. Soon after, a blue shell was headed my way, but fortunately I had a super horn. I battled to keep first for the remainder of the second lap and was hit with a red shell, sending me to fifth place, just before the third lap. I was able to catch up to second place near the end of the last lap. I was fighting Peach for first place and only had a green shell and a mushroom to work with. I tried using the green shell to hit Peach, but it missed, allowing her to take first from me. I was struggling because I didn't remember how the lap ended because the route changed. Unfortunately, Peach was able to hold first, sealing me in second place. I quit the cup as soon as I saw Peach pass the finish line. The Boomerang Cup has Bangkok Rush, Mario Circuit, Waluigi Stadium, and Singapore Speedway. The first course was Bangkok Rush. I lost the previous two cups in a row and was hoping that this cup would be different. We started with a rocket start that allowed me to keep up with the other racers, but it was not enough for me to get near first place. This map looked pretty cool so far, but I couldn't sightsee for long. I needed to take first place, or at least get near first place. I was able to take first place right around the second lap. However, right on the second curve on the second lap, I was still waiting on an item and I was hit with a red shell. At least I got a coin though, am I right? Waluigi used a super horn, putting me in second place, and then Peach used a red shell to put me in fourth place. Crossing into the finish line, I was able to get into second place once again. However, as I got closer to Donkey Kong, who was in first place, he hit me with a green shell that sent me into fourth place. Nearing the end of the third lap, I was able to get into second place, passing Waluigi. But it didn't matter though, because I still wasn't able to get into first place. I swear, I'm getting targeted because Waluigi had a red shell and didn't use it on first place while he was in second place. This was the third cup I lost in a row, which did not help my morale at all. On to the next cup. The next cup was the Feather Cup. The Feather Cup has Athens Dash, Daisy Cruiser, Moonview Highway, and Squeaky Clean Sprint. Athens Dash is one of my favorite courses. It's fun, fast-paced, short with a lot of boost opportunities. I was able to get a rocket start that helped me get closer to first. Around the first curve, I was able to boost onto the ramp, taking first place. I then landed on a pillar into another boost, which was the start of me creating a lead. After taking the ramp that threw me to the mountain, I was able to avoid the bats and block a red shell. Right after the second lap, I was struggling going up the stairs. After trying to get a jump boost, I hit a wall, slowing my pace just a bit. Luckily, I had a lead, so I was somewhat safe. However, I was still able to hold on to first place as we continued to the third lap. On the third lap, near the end, there was a stretch of boost that I was able to hit, which was a lifesaver because the speed was letting me get further in front of the others and still have a lead even after being hit with a blue shell. We recovered pretty fast and traveled up the stairs one last time. I tried hitting every jump boost that I could, which led me to taking first and allowing me to move to the next course. Daisy Cruiser is the only map that's named after my girl, so I have to like it. We started strong with the boost and had no problem creating a lead. I furthered the gap after jumping out of the pool with the floating toads. I threw a banana in the start of the second lap before getting a new item because I was under the impression I would get something better. Well, I didn't, and I got another coin, and then after jumping out of the pool, I was hit with a red shell. Even though it slowed me down and I was upset, I still held first. The third lap was a breeze since I had a lead. This course is really short and fast with a lot of different areas that I surprisingly like. I do like how fast the end is with the speed boost that sling you out of the water, just like how I like the segue onto the next course. The third course is Moonview Highway. I really like this course. It's at night and it reminds me of Toad's Turnpike with speed boost and a tollway. In the first lap of the race, I started to take the lead and further the distance between me and the other racers. While driving, I did see a car that was just a bomb with wheels, and that honestly made me nervous and question if that was considered street legal. It'd be a shame if someone hit that. The tollway area was pretty fast thanks to all the speed boosts, which I didn't mind since that increased my lead. After starting the second lap, I approached the bridge and in the distance I saw the bomb car once again. Mentally, I was prepared to drift around it and move on. But instead, I hit the bomb car head on, eliminating the other driver. My lead was slightly slowed down, but I still held the distance. On the third lap, I was definitely a little bit more nervous because my distance between the others shortened. I cleared my mind by another front-end collision and decided to commit another crime of hit and run to keep first place. I hit almost every speed boost in the tollway and didn't look back. The end was so close and I was hit by lightning. Not a problem though, I crawled to the finish line and placed first, sending me to the last course of the cup. The last course of the cup is Squeaky Clean Sprint. This map has a lot going on. I was able to get a speed boost, but for some reason it slowed me down instantly. I was able to get another speed boost while I was coming out of the sink. The next curve allowed me to drift and get a boost, sending me to first place. While I was in the shower drain, a red shell was coming right at me. I had a banana to protect myself. It did hit the banana, but while I was playing though, I had no idea where it went and I thought it just disappeared or something. The jump boost from the ramp made it appear like it didn't hit me. I held first going into the second lap. During the second lap headed toward the drain again, I was slightly irritated because the only item I could get was a coin when I already had 10 coins. I was able to maintain first for the rest of the second lap. On the third lap, on the last stretch, a blue shell was making its way toward me. I was beyond nervous because this was the last lap and the finish line was right there. After it hit me and I recovered, I was hit by lightning, but I was still able to secure first place and win my 8th cup. Now on to the final cup. The last cup of the challenge is the Cherry Cup. The Cherry Cup has Los Angeles Laps, Sunset Wilds, Koopa Cape, and Vancouver Velocity. The first course of the Cherry Cup was the Los Angeles Laps course. I started with the speed boost and headed straight toward first place and made my way down the boardwalk. Waluigi was in first place as we turned on the first curve that went toward the beach. After I landed, I picked up a coin and started drifting so I could avoid the crab. I was able to pass Waluigi using the speed boost on the ramp. I was still in first place whenever the second lap started. I was focusing on creating as much distance as possible to give me a bigger lead. Right before hitting the ramp that took me over the baseball field, a red shell was thrown. I had a green shell so I wasn't that worried, but then I was hit with the lightning that slowed down my pace. Although it did slow me down just a bit, I was able to abuse the turns and create as much boost as possible. I crossed into the third lap, which for some reason turned into an oil mining area, but I still had first place and a lead. I was wanting at least a green shell or banana, but of course the item I got was a coin once again. The rest of the third lap was pretty tamed with nothing happening, and I was able to secure first place, moving me to the next course. The second course is Sunset Wilds. Usually I do pretty well on this course. I started out with a rocket start that blasted me forward, but somehow Waluigi was able to get in front of me. It was only temporarily because on the curve I was able to take first place back. He attempted to beat me on the next curve, but I was able to hit him with a green shell, putting him back behind me. The next stretch was a few speed boosts that I was able to use to further my lead. On the second lap, somehow Waluigi was able to catch all the way back up to me and pass me. I had a feeling that this was more than likely going to be a race between me and Waluigi. I took first place back and kept it for the rest of the second lap. Third lap was a lot less stressful, even with getting slowed down by lightning and also getting slowed down by hugging a wall. I was inked at the end of the third lap, but still able to place first. The third course is Koopa Cape. Koopa Cape is a pretty short map. I started with the rocket start sending me into first place. After I was able to get an item, I got a coin and did a jump boost. Next thing up was a ramp. I used the ramp to get a jump boost, almost hit Goomba, however a green shell hit me. I hit the next ramp, getting a speed boost, and used a green shell to shield me from a red shell. Going down the course on the water is kind of annoying because I feel like I can't control the cart whatsoever. As I entered the tunnel, I was able to see the boost. I used the boost inside the tunnel to help me create a lead in front of the other racers. I was able to maintain first place coming out of the tunnel, however my distance was shortened and Peach was right on my tail going into the second lap. On the second lap around, after entering the tunnel and hitting the ramp, a blue shell hit me just before getting a boost off the wall. I was able to hit the speed boost on the wall to reclaim some speed. I thought I was safe when I left the tunnel, however a boo took a banana from me and all I had left was a coin to protect myself from a red shell. Peach passed me going into the third lap. I was able to pass her when lightning struck as we went down the waterway. As soon as we entered the tunnel, the only thing that matters was hitting all the boosts. The finish line was basically right off the tunnel, and all it would take is a red shell to cost me the cup. I was fortunate enough to be able to hit all the boosts and take first place, moving me to the last course of the last cup. Vancouver Velocity was the final course of the last cup. I was happy that I started the last race on the right track with the rocket start putting me into first place. I was able to get 2 jump boosts back to back on the second curve, but the third jump slowed me down and Toadette was able to pass me. I kept fighting Toadette for first and I missed my opportunity to get an item, but she was able to get one. A little further down the road, she got 3 bananas and was able to hit me with one, putting me in third place. The start of the second lap went well. After passing a few people, I was able to get into second and then into first after using my piranha plan. At the end of the second lap, Toadette was able to catch up to me and pass me. In the tunnel after, Toadette hit a bat, allowing me to reclaim first place. I was able to create some distance, but not a lot by the end of the third lap. Entering the ice skating arena, I was nervous because the route changed and I didn't know how close I was to the finish line. The blue shell appeared on the map and all I could do was focus on getting boosts to get as close to the finish line as possible. However, this game knew it was my last course and that it was the last cup and decided to hit me with the blue shell, putting me into second place. Toadette passed me and I lost the cup. I can't believe I got hit with the blue shell so late in the third lap. Alright, the results are in. Out of the 22 cups, I won 8. I won the Mushroom Cup, the Special Cup, the Shell Cup, the Leaf Cup, the Lightning Cup, the Lucky Cat Cup, the Rock Cup, and the Feather Cup. There are 2 cups that were stolen from me that I should have won, if I'm being honest, but RNG and luck were nowhere near on my side. Specifically, I'm talking about the Vancouver Velocity Race and the Rainbow Road Race. I lost them both right before the finish line and they were both in the 4th race of the cup. Very unfortunate, I know. If you liked the video, I did post the full challenge playthrough on my channel as well. There's live gameplay commentary, so expect some spicy moments from yours truly. If you watched the video all the way to the end, thank you. I know it was a very long video and I did my best to shorten it as much as possible. Since you did make it to the end, why don't you stick around just a little longer and give it a like, and why not subscribe too? If you want an extra, drop a comment about anything, even a fun fact, I'll read it. Again, thank you so much for watching and I hope it was entertaining. Later, bye, see ya. Have a good day or night. Okay, bye.